So the Hyundai Creta is one of our best of 2024. Joining me today to accept the award is Mr. Tarun Garg, Whole-Time Director and COO of Hyundai Motor India. Tarun, thank you for joining us. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Dhruv.
So, the Creta until very recently was an aspirational product. It's now one of the best-selling cars in the Indian market, as a whole. So, you're a veteran of this industry. Talk us through that journey of aspiration and how a car like this today can become one of the best-selling cars in India.
I think it's a very, very interesting question. And if you see the Indian auto industry, and I've been here for 3 decades now.
Yeah.
2015, when Creta was launched, it was a small car market, India, and SUVs used to contribute only about 13.5% of the overall market.
Yeah.
And I think Creta changed it all.
Yeah.
And the best thing about Creta is that it is a benchmark in itself, and it continues to create new benchmarks. We have sold about 1.1 million cars already in the market. Like you said, it is a top bestseller, not only in its mid SUV segment as a leader, but I think across the chain you can see customers, really moving towards the Creta. And so many first-time buyers. In fact, 28% of Creta are being sold to the first-time buyers.
Wow.
I think this is again the testimony to how Indian market has really evolved and how aspirations have taken over functionality. So yes, Creta continues to surprise, not us, but definitely all the auto enthusiasts.
Yeah. And as an aside, congratulations on the biggest IPO in India.
Yeah.
What has changed operationally, strategically post the IPO?
Look, we have been in India now for 28 years, and Hyundai has got all the love and affection from the Indian customers. Yeah. We have been known for benchmark products, technologies. HMG as a group is now the 3rd biggest OEM. So frankly speaking, success was always there. We believe that now with the IPO coming in and with the opportunity to all the global and domestic institutional investors and the retail investors to be a part of our success story, it gives a very great feeling. It increases the responsibility. The communication has definitely gone up because now every quarter we're going to talk to the investors, to the media people, and of course the responsibility is increased. We have a full-fledged board with 4 independent directors of different nationalities and great repute. So I think it's really a lot of fun, a lot of excitement, at the same time a lot of responsibility, and it gives us an opportunity to really take Hyundai Motor India to global standards in terms of operations, in terms of excellence, and of course in terms of corporate governance as well.
And also one more thing, like you said, Hyundai has been in India for 28 years. It's very much been part of this mobility revolution and this journey in India. So in that sense, the commitment of the brand to this market is unmatched. Nevertheless, now that you're listed on an Indian exchange, is the perception now more so that it's an Indian brand?
Absolutely. I think yes. The more the better, and we would really want to be seen as an Indian brand. And with the IPO coming in, I think it really gives us that kind of an opportunity in terms of this is the first ever listing outside of Korea for HMC. So again, that's very, very important. In terms of capacity, after the Pune plant kicks in, outside of Korea, we're the number 1 in terms of capacity for the HMC group. So every which way you look at it, I think we're becoming more and more Indian, whether it's the brand, whether it's the communities. We had the Samarth program, under of Ages of Progress for Humanity. So we believe that we have contributed and will continue to contribute towards the progress of the country.
And you personally, as I mentioned, you're a veteran in the industry. You've been in leadership positions in the top car makers in the country. We've seen a lot of brands come into the country and also exit and not be as successful as they would like to be. What suggestion or advice could you give brands on what is that secret sauce to succeeding in a market like India?
I think it's very simple. We have to give respect to India. India is a very unique market, and the global formulas will not work here. So we need to really see what the customer wants. Value is very, very important. At the same time, you need to really see that not only the spoken needs, but sometimes the unspoken needs, the latent needs of the customers also have to be seen. This is what Hyundai has been able to do. Always trying to really raise the benchmark. I gave an example of Creta, Blue Link in Venue, the Exter, the 6 airbags, the standard. Of course, you go back 28, 26 years and the Santro with the MPFI engine or the CRDI diesel engine. So I think it's all about really understanding the customer, giving respect to the customers. At the same time, being a part of the global conglomerate, it really helps because we have all kinds of technologies. India is also very big. I think one thing which is very important about India is that one solution will not work for all states or all segments. So you need to really have be technology agnostic. Like for example, today we have petrol, we have CNG, we have diesel, we have electric, all kinds of powertrains. We have 4 different kinds of automatics. So for various geographies, we have everything for the customer. Going forward as well, with the HMC's prowess in the technology, I think that will be a cutting edge which Hyundai will have. So I would always say that for all the global OEMs, that probably just to bring in a product which was successful globally and bringing it to India probably would not work. Yeah. We need to really be in touch with the customer and understand his spoken and unspoken needs.
Yeah. And I mean, credit to the brand. I think understanding the needs is one thing, but taking those needs into consideration and tweaking the product accordingly is something that Hyundai has been amazing at.
Absolutely, whether it was the ADAS, we had really tested it extensively here, and today 8 out of our models have ADAS, 8 out of 13 models. Who would have believed that, that Hyundai would have such a big array of ADAS products? Then localization, which helps us to really reduce the cost. Then a win-win philosophy in terms of network. Whether it's a dealer satisfaction, whether it is a consumer satisfaction. I think what is very important is that you have this philosophy of win-win and have a very unique approach for India, because India is very unique.
Yeah. So speaking of India being unique and technology, your next model that will be launched will be an EV version of this. There's some sense that a lot of the early adopters have already adopted the EVs that they're going to. The infrastructure is not quite there as yet. How do you see that playing out? Because it seems like it's a challenge, and it's not quite clear as to what is the path forward.
Frankly speaking, Dhruv, I believe India is at an early stage of electrification. We are at about 2.5%. If you see the other markets, they are at 10%, 20%. In fact, China is at more than 35%. Yeah. We believe with the government focus, whether it is on the charging infrastructure, whether it is on the GST, whether it is on the PLI scheme, different states offering different offerings. At the same time, so many players, in the industry are now coming up with their EVs. I believe that the time has just ripe to really accelerate this path of electrification. Creta is a very strong brand. Like I said, 1.1 billion Creta sold over the past 9 years in India. I think people love the Creta. A brand EV coming from the Hyundai stable. Hyundai is known for technology, for its EVs. Ioniq 5 has received a great response in India. Yeah. I believe time is just ripe. And then we are offering a 360-degree solution. In terms of battery packs, they are already being localized, which will help us to position the Creta EV well. In terms of charging infrastructure, we are focusing big time. In addition to the AC charging infrastructure, we are focusing on the DC charging infrastructure. Not only at the dealerships. In fact, we have identified some highways and some prominent locations where already 17 DC fast charging stations have been made, because our study suggested that while 85% of the customers are charging at home or office, however, they are reluctant to take the vehicles on the highways. So I think we are really giving it a 360-degree shot so that we can give a very comprehensive solution to the customers. And of course, Hyundai service is well known. So we believe in terms of total cost of ownership, in terms of brand, in terms of quality, in terms of technology, in terms of range, we are going to give a winner product to the customers.
So looking ahead into 25, festive season has been good, but there seem to be economic headwinds internationally and in India. How would you say this year is going to close out, calendar year, and how do you project the next 6 months, let's say?
So look, if you see the CAGR for India, whether it's a 5-year CAGR or a 10-year CAGR, it is at 5%. However, in 22 and 23, we saw huge growth of 22%, 9%. So obviously some moderation had to happen. Right. If you remember, all of us in the auto industry, we had sat together in January and tried to forecast this year. And we had all said that low single-digit growth on that high base will be very good. Yeah. And this is what we are heading for. Yeah. So I think it's all on the expected lines. Anyway, June, July, August, September, with all the heat and rain, like I said, I spent 3 decades. I think it has always been kind of slow. October was great, and I think the momentum is continuing. So I don't think there's any reason to be pessimistic. Some kind of crests and troughs will always come, but as long as CAGR stays at 5%, and as long as India is growing demographically, as well as in terms of cost of ownership, we continue to keep it low. In terms of disposable incomes continuously going up, per capita GDP continuously going up, car penetration at about 30 per thousand. I think there's still a lot of headroom for India to really continue to grow and really outperform the global markets, not only in terms of GDP, but also in terms of automobile growth.
Thank you. Always a pleasure to sit down with you and get your perspective.
Thank you. Same here.
And congratulations on the amazing success of the Creta.
Thank you so much. Thank you.